One of the issues that I most often help my coaching clients with is how to say no. A lot of people come to me because they have trouble saying no, they're people pleasers, they're very afraid of disappointing people. And what's worse is a lot of times these people are surrounded by people that are narcissistic or who simply want to take advantage of them. So not being able to say no really creates a lot of stress in their lives. And when they inevitably cave in and say yes, there's also a lot of resentment towards that relationship. So the relationship itself also becomes unhealthy. If this is something you struggle with, make sure you like and subscribe. And also comment, because I do read every comment, and most often I would also reply. So make sure to drop me a comment. In today's video, I'm actually going to give you actual phrases that you could use so that you could apply it to your day-to-day life. I think a lot of times when we read books about how to say no or how to set boundaries, it stops short of giving you actual examples. So I want to remedy that. Before I jump in though, I want you to hold in mind two principles when it comes to setting boundaries. Number one is don't set boundaries that you're not ready to hold. The key to good boundary setting is that you want to be soft with your words, but hard on your actions. This applies to dating as much as with any relationship in your life. Just imagine two people. One person is usually very easygoing, but you know that if they say no, if they set a boundary, they will always enforce it. So their no means a hard no. Whereas the other person is not as easygoing, comes off as maybe even very picky or nagging, and this person would say things or set boundaries, have a lot of rules, but when push comes to shove and you break that boundary, they would just basically say, oh, please don't do that again. I really don't want you to do that. And you get no consequences. Who do you respect more? And whose words do you take more seriously? So if you say it's the previous person, the former person, that's pretty much a clue to you that you want to be a person who is soft on words, maybe not have too many rules, but whatever words you put down, you are ready to execute. So keep that first one in mind. Number two key with boundary setting is don't feel like you have to over-explain. A no stands on its own. Of course, sometimes you may want to provide a reason to soften the tone, etc., and that's perfectly fine. But if you are dealing with a person who has a track record of disrespecting your boundaries, this applies a lot of times to parents who are used to seeing you as their child, used to ordering you around. Maybe they have more narcissistic tendencies. Then you want to keep that no extra simple. So now let's jump into some of the key phrases you could use. The first one is just using no as a complete sentence. So saying no thank you, no I can't do it is enough. You actually don't have to add anything to it. There is a Chinese saying called drawing snakes with legs. That's basically adding to something unnecessarily, and it actually detracts from the message itself. Sometimes when you just say no, right? No, no thank you, no, not now, no, I'm not interested, by itself is the best way to say no. The problem I see a lot of my clients make when they say no is that they give too much detail. So for example, right, you actually don't want to help a person with something, but you make an excuse saying that, no, I can't do it on Tuesday because I have dance lessons. Well, then this person might turn around and say, well, how about after your dance lesson? What about Wednesday? So you have to also be really honest with yourself. If you don't want to do it because it's Tuesday, that's totally fine, right? Say that you can't do it because it's Tuesday. But if the reason you don't want to do it is simply because you don't want to do it, right, for whatever reason, and it's not because it happens to be on Tuesday, then don't say that it's on Tuesday. By giving that extra detail, it allows the other person to provide solutions for you. And if that's not what you want, don't provide the extra detail. Another nice way to say no is referrals. You get a lot of that in professional circles. For example, if you call up a notary services and that person is out of town, they might say, well, I'm sorry I can't do it, but my friend Bobby can do it and here is his number. So that's another option you can do, right? You can tell your friend, I can't help you with this, but this is a professional moving company that I've used in the past. They're really great. Here's their number, and leave it at that. Another gentle way to let people down is to make sure that they know it's not personal. For example, if you're tired of getting interview requests, you can simply say, I can't do it because this quarter I decided to not do any personal interviews. If this is true, feel free to say that, because it makes the receiver understand that your no is not personal to them. Another gentle way to say no is to say no while showing gratitude. So for example, you're being invited to a baby shower and you're just not that interested in baby showers. So in order to say no, you might want to say, well, thank you so much for thinking of me. Your invitation means a lot, but I won't be able to come this time. And leave it at that. So you're showing gratitude for the fact that they thought about you, invited you as a friend, but you can't go. And lastly, if you don't want to say a hard no because you don't want to say yes to all their demands or the way that they made the request or their specific request, but there is another way you might be able to help them, then say, no, I can't help you move, but I am happy to help you pack the day before, if you are truly willing to help them pack. Again, always only say yes to things that is in your ability and you both have the ability and want to do. Again, the principle is be honest with yourself and also be honest with other people so that you only say yes for things that you're genuinely willing to do and that you have the capability to do. Now, what is a way that you could practice boundary setting? Of course, you can take all the phrases that I give, make it your own, even practice saying no in front of a mirror. That's always very helpful. And it's always also a good idea to reflect after your engagement with the other person to say, how was my no? How did it land? What did I do well? And what could I improve? And continuously try to hone in on your skill of saying no. The beauty of this practice is that the more you do it, the more at ease you feel, and the less you feel the need to over-explain yourself. The desire to over-explain, again, comes from that fear of disappointing people, and that's something that I would encourage you to work on. Understand that we cannot make everybody happy at all times. We are bound to disappoint some people. We're just not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and sometimes we have to say no to other people in order to say yes to ourselves. Another wonderful way to practice boundary setting is to set boundaries and keep it with yourself. Maybe it's something as common as wanting to eat more healthy. Then you have to say, well, if I'm decided to cut down sugar, I'm actually going to do it. I'm not going to add sugar into my coffee. I'm going to stop drinking juice and not order Coke. All of these things, when you follow your own boundaries, you're creating self-trust. And the more self-trust you have, the more confident you are, and the more you're also able to say no. I hope you find today's video helpful. I'm happy to help you if you want more in-depth coaching. Check out the information below. And then, as always, drop me a comment. I love hearing from you and I love answering your questions. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.